Top Fuel Racing is on the air live from Gateway Motorsports Park in lovely St. Louis, Missouri. DW12's 2018 Season 1, race number 5. This race being brought to you by Gateway Motorsports, proudly providing the bump music for tonight's broadcast. Gateway Motorsports is a proud supporter of the Disabled American Veterans Association, and DAV is an all-volunteer fleet of non-critical medical transport for America's veterans. And more information on how you can get involved, go to dav.org. Tonight's race being brought to you by Discount Nutrition. Discount Nutrition is a family-owned and operated store in Tampa, Florida since 1996. They're located on the Gun Highway. 30 years of experience in the sports nutrition and fitness industry. If you have any questions, please feel free to call their toll-free number at 1-888 362-0363. That's 1-888-362-0363. Discount Nutrition of Tampa, Florida, proudly sponsoring tonight's event live here from Gateway Motorsports Park. Tony Trapasso up in the booth, joined with me by my new partner in crime, Mr. Tyler Vickery. Tyler, how the hell are you tonight? I'm
doing good tonight. Had a long day at work, but I'm ready to watch some good DW12 action here at Gateway.
Absolutely. I mean, you and I have been watching and talking during the hot lap session, and it's been some interesting things going on here. I fear that turn 2 is going to be Calamity Corner tonight.
Yeah, I'm actually going to be worried about that too. We've watched some practices where some people have slid up the track and caused some massive carnage. Earlier on, there was a incident between, I want to say, Nate Seifer and the 09 of Carl Burke, where Seifer had an issue, crashed up into the wall, slid back down the track, and just the 09 of Carl Burke had nowhere to go. But just, oh man, this is the one time where I kind of am glad this is a simulator and not real life, because I think there would have been some injuries there, because, yeah.
Well, the other thing to keep in mind is that the new tire model and physics model for the safer barriers came out this week, and we've seen some cars take some pretty decent ricochets off those safer barriers tonight already. It's going to be interesting to see how the new tire model is playing out as far as how long it's going to be before somebody wears the goodie off that right front tire and all hell breaks loose.
Yeah, and also too with those safer barriers, they probably also too have to make sure not to scrape that wall too. Because I mean, at times if they scrape that wall the right spot, they could easily launch up into the air, like what Rodney Osmer did earlier in practice, where he launched into Mach 3, which was interesting in itself.
Actually, if you want to get technical, he was pushing Mach 4.
Oh dear.
No, I take that back. He was almost Mach 3, because it's 650 miles an hour, I want to say, per Mach number that you go.
Okay.
So yeah, he was just a tick, just ever so slightly shy of going Mach 3 at that point. But definitely something to keep an eye on here.
At times I was laughing because that was something I wasn't expecting the physics to do, especially launching a car that quickly up in the air. And he probably had a good view up way high up too.
With the quickness that it took watching it live. Now, remind you, you and I had to go frame by frame to see exactly how fast he went.
Yeah,
Because
and
he actually exited the sim in under a second.
yeah, because at one point when I was going frame by frame, it had for me where the frame by frame his fastest speed was was 965 miles, and then when you showed me a screenshot of yours, he was going well over 1,800 miles an hour, and I was like, oh my.
Oh my God, she's gone plaid.
Pretty much.
And for those of you who aren't Mel Brooks fans, you probably won't get that reference. Anyways, looking at the times as they're trickling across the top of your screen, Scott Brinson laying one down during hot lap so far. 25,278. That's, you want to talk about ludicrous speed, but then you take a look at Mark Walker, who's currently sitting second quick. He's only 20 thousandths back, and Nate Seifer is only another 30 thousandths off of that. So, you if you take a look at right now, your top 11 are only separated by 0.2 of a second.
Yeah, and then when you compare it to the whole field in general, I mean, the whole field is less than half a second difference from Scott Brinson at first and then Greg Napier in 18th out of the last running car, and that's going to be some really interesting racing at the start. I might be seeing some really good pack racing at the start until one minor mistake ends up becoming 3 or 4 cars barrel rolling end over end.
Well, what I fear is going to happen, and unfortunately, with a paperclip track like you have here, turn 1 is one of the more difficult turns to get lined up because you can carry so much speed through the 3-4 complex. But in turns 1 and 2 are banked, so you had that false sense of security there of, I can play Superman here. The only problem is, no, you can't really play Superman here because...
And I have learned the hard way multiple times at this track, because I've tried to go flat out through the 1-2 complex, and let's just say I had a face full of wall a lot of the time if I tried to go full throttle, and that's never a good option, especially if you want to run a quick time here.
So we're watching John Napier crank off a couple of laps right now. Would like to give a shout out to the folks over at SodaFix, who John was telling me are watching the stream with us. So how you folks doing tonight? Can I get a cherry vanilla, please? Thanks. Just mail it to New York for me.
I wouldn't mind having a root beer float myself.
Now you're talking.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's the only downside to living here in Orlando. It makes it where it's difficult. I can't find a decent place that makes any good root beer floats anymore.
You need to come up to New York, my friend. I know of a real good ice cream shop up here, but they don't do good sodas. So Robert Dudley going quick time so far is looks like he's going to be one and done on his qualifying laps. No, he did take 2 laps. I'm sorry. Robert Dudley going quick time so far with a 25 560.
Brian Trimble, looks like Matt Burkhart is, well, he's slowing down. Greg Napier's right now, he's running some laps right now.
Yep, Greg just getting it up to speed.
Yeah.
Tony Rice cranking one off. Looks like Tony's going to be one and done.
Ronnie Osmer's getting up to speed now.
Let's follow along with Mr. Osmer. Driving for PH Aware and Ride to Live. Looks like he's getting ready to start his flyer here. Trying to get a little bit of a late entry, arcing it into turn number 1. Probably not a bad idea to try to... If you take the late entry into 1, you're less likely to eat the wall coming out of 2.
Yeah, and then you just hug the line here at 3-4 and try. Usually I would hug that wall, but at the same time, you don't want to hug the wall too much because there is that little small gap that you could end up causing the car to touch, and you'll lose a lot of speed as well as mess up your suspension. Ooh.
You're not wrong.
First lap he did was a 25.597. That's puts him up to third. A lot of close times right now.
And it looks like Ronnie's one and done.
I believe he actually ran. I believe he ran 2 laps. I'm not 100% sure. As Crumry and Mark A. Walker jump up to the front row by only 54 thousandths of a second. Whew.
54 thousandths of a second for Walker over Crumry. Crumry over Dudley, who had the provisional pole going into those two guys going out. 14 thousandths.
Wow. And there goes Nate Siefker. I hope I said that right.
You did.
I feel okay. As long as I said it right. He practically leapfrogged both Mark and Paul with running a 25.431. Oh, and Tony, Ronnie's getting onto us. It was give, not to live. It was right to.
I'm sorry, Ronnie. I knew I was going to screw that up, and I did it anyway. Ride to give and PH Aware on the 55 tonight. 44. Wow. Okay, that's going to take some getting used to.
Yeah.
Damn kids, quit changing your numbers.
I'm so used to seeing him with the 55, and then when he ran the ARCA race at Daytona, the real life race actually too, he was running the number 99 car.
Well, that he kind of didn't have any control over because he was driving.
No, and
another team owner.
Yeah, and that was the team owner. He had both the number 9 and the 99 car, and ran well. The only downside was just the motor decided to give way almost a quarter of the way through the race. Kind of disappointing, but I mean, for getting some good experience in with the super speedways, it was still a plus.
Yeah, and you know that's the hard part as far as most of the stuff goes is getting the super speedway license is generally the hardest thing to do.
Yes.
So that would explain why my timing and scoring stopped working. Bear with me a second, folks. It's about to get interesting.
I'm keeping an eye on the timing here. It looks like timing's still working for me.
Yeah, it's still working for you, but my ATVO just crashed.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
That's never good.
Yeah.
Got a little less than 3 minutes and 20 seconds left. Not seeing too much time difference right now. Looks like Trimble, I think he's just running laps now to learn the track, as well as Scott Brinson. Brian Trimble, I guess, looks like he struggled. Slowest time, 37.9. But I think that was probably just trying to get used to the car and understanding the track. Yeah, that's what I'm looking towards. Scott Brinson, our provisional pole right now. Second lap, he ran a 25.4, which is 29 thousandths of a second quicker than Nate Siefker, and as well as 59 thousandths of a second quicker than Mark A. Walker. This is going to be some very close racing here at the front. Right now, based on qualifying times, from first to eighth, only 0.2 of a second difference. Alright, should be, got another 2 minutes left in queue, but I have a feeling they should all be finishing up their lap times right now. I don't believe there's any other cars that still need to take a qualifying time. As we are...
Colin Scott's the only one I'm seeing, but I don't see Colin in the session.
Yeah, I don't see him either. It shows that he is in the session. I wonder if he's a race control as well.
That could be too. That's a good possibility. Let's.
And then I also got a message earlier, from Ronnie. The Lee Bedsall stole his number, so that's why Ronnie's running the number 44.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough.
So, now, well, at least we can put that the rest of why he's not running his normal 55 number.
Fair enough. So Scott Brinson going quick time. Nate Seifker sitting second quick. Mark Walker, Paul Crumry, Robert Dudley, Chris Walker, Brad Truax, Ronnie Osmer, Joe Morganti, and Ty Stanley running out your top 10 so far.
Looks like Colin Scott is... Now he won't have enough time to run a Q lap. Looked like he was about to, because it shows him on track currently. So 19 car field right now, and then I guess depending on whether if Lee's running as well, which I'm not 100% sure on.
Well, again, I would like to point out that you are watching the Top Fuel Racing Series DW12 Racing League 2018 Season 1. If you like the action that you're seeing, wait till after the live stream is over. Go ahead and watch the replay and drop a comment in the replay with your iRacing screen name. We'll get it passed along to league management, and they'll go from there. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And we do have to give a big shout-out to Discount Nutrition of Tampa, Florida tonight for putting up the purse for the winner. $10 going to go to the winner of tonight's event. So let's take a quick look at the grid here. Row number 1, you're going to have Brinson in... Make sure I'm saying that right. Looks like Brinson and Seifker.
Then row number 2 will be Brian Trimble and Ty Stanley.
Yeah, that's not right.
Oh, is it? It's got it all messed up again.
Bear with me, folks. Playing with the new programs tonight. Want to make sure we get you the... Okay, that was right. Okay, cool.
Yep.
Just had to double check it, folks. Nope. So Brinson and Seifker are going to be at row number 1. Row 2 is going to see Mark Walker and Paul Crumry. Robert Dudley and Chris Walker are going to be row number 3. Row 4 is going to see Brad Truax and Ronnie Osmer. Row number 5 is going to go to Joe Morganti and Ty Stanley, with Kevin O'Brien and Carl Burke making up row number 6. Row 7 is going to see Tony Rice and Doug Kennedy, with row 8 going to Matt Burkhart and John Napier. Row 9 going to Greg Napier and Brian Tim Brell. And not sure if Colin Scott is actually going to make the green here. If he does, he's going to be starting shotgun on the field. So field's starting to roll off here. See Brinson in that beautifully prepared Gallus Craco livery. those of you who've been longtime IndyCar fans will recognize that one as a vehicle Bobby Rahal took to a win at the Brickyard. So 125 laps of scheduled distance tonight. No fast repairs, and pull the belts tight. Pace car's in. Brinson has control of the field, rolls into the throttle.
Green flag, green flag.
And we are underway here at Gateway.
Clean start in the back of the field as well. No contact right now. Oh, we got it correct. Oh boy, I believe that was. Let's see who that was. Ty Stanley, the the 02 car, getting involved.
02. Where is the 02? There is. Wow.
He's got a lot of damage. I think
he's got a lot of net code.
Oh boy. Yeah, watching that, it was he disappeared from my screen a couple of times, and then, oh wow, that netcode really was hurtful. I believe he took someone else out as well, and that would be Joe Morganti also as well.
That was Joe Morganti in the second car there for SodaFix. Those folks watching live at the shop right now. So all rest now on the broad shoulders of Mr. John Napier in the 99. Meanwhile, up front, Scott Brinson still showing the way. So Morganti still has time to get it fixed. It's going to be a little while, but.
And I believe Ty Stanley is going to be out of this race with the very early, especially with the engine blown, and practically tore up that car big time. I don't think, and with not having any fast repairs, that's going to be at least minimum of 30-minute repair trying to get the engine back working.
You're not wrong.
And I don't know if they're able to even get it fully repaired. So it'll be interesting to see how much they can get repaired, or even if they're able to get back out on track.
It is definitely going to be interesting to see. Now, while we are still under caution, let's take a quick look at tonight's track. And as soon as I figure out where that button just went, I just had the damn thing. So we are at Gateway Motorsports Park, Madison, Missouri. 1.25 miles. Now, I heard Scott refer to this as a short track earlier. Scott, not really. I mean, generally, at least for the oval guys, short tracks are anything under a mile. But this being one of the shortest tracks that they're going to see with these cars in this league, I can't say I blame them. Real quick check of the weather. You're talking 70 degrees ambient air temperature, track temperature being at its night. We're still looking 77 degrees, partly overcast, and a 1 mile an hour wind out of the north. So we're going to get the green on lap number 5 of
125.
Not sure why that's showing differently, but okay. The program decides to do what it wants to do, and ladies and gentlemen, I do apologize.
Green flag, green flag.
As we go green, we had 3 takers as well. Brian Trimble, Tony Rice, and Colin Scott all pitted during that caution.
Well, Trimble had to pit because he caught a piece of that action early on. As Siefker and Osmer going side by side third. Paul Crumry right there with him.
Oh, this is going to be a good battle going on. Battle for fifth. Actually, more for fourth and third, as it's going to be a 4-car battle now.
Meanwhile, Walker and Brinson are just starting to gap these guys.
Hosmer just shoved his way into fourth. What a move Hosmer did there on the high lane.
Bet you folks never thought you'd see bump drafting in an IndyCar.
He's able to pull it off. Believe me, he is one of my teammates in another league, and boy, when he tells me he's gonna bump draft me, I that's pretty much how I react to him.
It's a pucker moment the first time it happens, though.
Yeah, but out of all the drivers that I have either bump drafted with or have teamed up with in a tandem draft, Ronnie's one of those guys. He knows how to be able to get the car in front to push and to not spin him out. I mean, I would say keep an eye out on the straights, as Ronnie will probably use that move multiple times in this race.
Well, meanwhile, the field's starting to get a little bit strung out, which is not that surprising considering the paperclip shape of this track and the different lines that you can take going into, especially the 1-2 complex that we're watching Chris Walker and Brad Truax duke it out for right now.
As we got another battle further back, I believe that's Carl Burke.
And we've got a pass for the lead as Walker and Brinson battling it out going through the 3-4 complex. Brinson trying it back on the inside, ducks into the draft, gets a little bit of aero push, going to try a late apex. Walker in the clean air, though.
Hosmer ended up jumping up to third. I missed that pass because now Crumry and Siefker are now side by side battling for fourth.
And give it to Siefker as he... oh, no, not so quick. Crumry is going to have the position going down into one. Wisely lifts off, though.
Crumry lost a lot of time there with trying to do that inside move, and it did not help him for the best, as he's got Brad Truex all over his gearbox now.
Unfortunately, and drivers are learning this quickly, but for some it may be too late. Turn 1 is a late apex. It's a late entry corner, so if you try to enter the corner too low, and it looks like Chris Walker may have touched the wall, but if you try to enter turn 1 too low, it's going to kill you on exit.
Yes, that's Nate Siefker, I believe, just passed, or no, I'm sorry, I thought Siefker passed Ronnie as...
No, but they're reeling in. They're reeling in Scott Brinson right now. Mark it down for a 3-car battle for second. Starting to heat up.
This is going to get interesting quick. Walker slowly but surely pulling away right now as these 3 battle for second. Ronnie's looking on that inside.
I don't know if that's going to work. Yeah, because Brinson's able to keep it wound up, and Siefker's got to run on him too. He's going to lose a spot rather than gain one for doing that.
Yeah.
You've really going
onto it.
Yeah, going into one is not the place where you're going to want to pass here tonight.
Yeah, especially with it being a late apex, you're most likely better off just staying on that high line, cutting it down to the bottom of that apex, and then weaving out up to the wall. That'll be the best line just to get through there, and then you can deal with turns 3 and 4.
Right, and now you're going to see it right here as Siefker goes to the inside of Hosmer. You can make that pass work through 3 and 4, not through 1 and 2. And Hosmer just might as well give the position up now and wisely ducks back in line.
Yeah, they got to work together again to try to catch up to Brinson and Walker, as Brinson's got a big run on Walker right now.
And Walker saw him coming, just let him have it.
Smart move very early in the race, only 17 laps in now.
"17 laps in as we are following along with Mark Walker.
Yeah, looking further back in the rest of this field, everyone's really starting to spread out. The only ones I can look at that'll be a decent battle further back would be there's a 3-car battle further back, I believe for 9th, and which is actually for 8th, which is Mac Burkhart, Robert Dudley, and Carl Burke. But everyone else though has been mainly single file.
And as we saw Burkhart take the suicide line going through the 1-2 complex, I'm thinking that was more Dudley going, is this guy going to come up into me and not really challenging him for it this early?
Yeah, I think a lot of these guys are going to play it safe and work the fuel mileage in the car to see what kind of fuel mileage they can get for the rest of the race. This is going to be more just learning what you got in the car and then working out a strategy for the last half of the race.
And learning how to time your runs too, because as we've seen already, an early entry into turn 1, you're not going to win the race.
Yes.
You can see it there with as Dudley and Dudley and Burke. Burke tried it, thought about it, and rather than run the risk of getting up into Dudley, backed out of it, which is probably the wise thing to do. Is we're only working lap 21 of 125.
Yeah, and so far it looks like Colin Scott came in again for a pit stop a few laps ago. Actually 11 laps ago. Don't know what the reason for, but he's now dropped 2 laps down due to it.
Well, that's the problem with the shorter tracks, and especially with this track where you have an access road at each end of the pits. You're gonna lose at least 2 laps under green.
Yes.
Yeah, because you figure, I'm looking at some of these lap times. The quickest pit stop that I saw under that last caution was Tony Rice, which was a 33.2 entry to exit cone. So you figure you've got to go down the access road, get woed down for the entry cone, hit your stall, get back up to speed for pit road, get to the exit cone, and then use the exit road. So you're losing 2 laps at least. Colin Scott should be thankful that he only lost 2 laps.
Oh yeah, I agree. As leaders are starting to catch up to the tail end of the field, which I believe is Kevin O'Brien is the latest car on the lead lap, the last car on the lead lap, I should say.
Kevin O'Brien being scored as, the last car, still on the lead lap, but from the looks of it, not for long. Oh, wait, no, that's not him.
Oh, it was not. Okay. Well, no, that was him, because on my timing screen, it just switched over to lap.
Yep.
Yep. I'll make sure.
That is Kevin O'Brien. There was Kevin O'Brien. That flashed by as Brinson. Brinson's still showing the way. Mark Walker, though, keeping him honest, is they've opened up a full second lead over Nate Siefker and Ronnie Osmer.
Yeah, I think these are going to be the 2 guys to get a watch for the early portion of this race, fighting for the lead. They're just giving each other room now, but it's going to get close.
Well, not just the early portion of the race. I mean, we're 27 laps into this first fuel stint. These guys, if there was any goodie on the tires to begin with, they've worn it off by now.
Yes. Greg Napier is in the pits currently right now. And he's in there for a while. And this is his first pit stop as well.
Going out on a limb and say been caught speeding.
That'll do it. That'll at least be 25 second penalty, I believe.
Tony Rice getting ready to go a lap down here. Gives the leaders plenty of room, moves to the inside line. Brinson, Walker, Siefker, Osmer, Crumry, your top 5.
As we're getting side by side for the lead.
Battle for the lead with Walker going to the inside. Brinson giving him plenty of room. Looks like Brinson might be going into fuel conservation mode just a little bit. Question is,
I'm almost curious on what the fuel run is going to be, because right now they're 30 laps in their stint right now.
Well, the fuel fill is only 82%. And full tanks in one of these cars, I believe, is 22 gallons.
Alright.
No, these are the DW12s, so full fuel is 18 gallons. Okay. And Siefker has caught Brinson.
And passed him very quickly. Or actually,
no,
I'm sorry.
No, they're still side by side.
Yeah, I was thinking the lead. I was thinking it was still for the lead. My apologies.
No, that is your battle for second.
On Walker. Yeah, but they are still closing in on Walker too. They're only half a second behind, but they're still within draft range. Ronnie's fallen off the pace, but I think Ronnie's conserving a little bit too. He's 2.4 seconds behind Walker right now currently.
Right.
So far, no one else has come into pits yet. And right now, as they're on lap 33, coming to complete lap 33.
We still got Walker, Brinson, Siefker, Osmer, and Crumry, your top 5. And you are watching a presentation of the Top Fuel Racing League DW12 series. If you like the action that you're seeing here tonight, wait till after the live stream is over and go ahead and drop a comment in the replay comment section with your iRacing screen name. We'll get it passed along to league management and see if we can't get you in on the action for some of the action later in the week. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share if you like what you see here on the Both Broadcasting channel, the other BBC. For those of you who are wondering, my normal partner in crime, Mr. Sam Cooper Bennett, actually on vacation this week. So, Sam, don't do anything I wouldn't do. Of course, that kind of opens the field wide open for you. Have fun with that.
Oh, I think he's enjoying his vacation.
You're not wrong. I've seen some pictures that he's posted on his Facebook page, and it looks like it's very relaxing, although the terms England and barbecue just should never be combined in the same sentence.
Yeah, I can agree with you on that. I'd be a little confused at first.
And when Sam finally makes it over here for... he's talking about coming over later on here. We'll see if we can't get him some real barbecue.
Yeah, we need to give him the true barbecue. I agree with you on that.
and I'm gonna say this right now. Speaking of barbecue, because I know we've had people in Texas listening. Yes. In upstate New York, not to be confused with the 5 boroughs, but we're talking Canada Junior, where I live, there are a couple of really good barbecue joints up here, and I would welcome anybody that comes to visit to sample both of them. One is Sticky Lips in Rochester, the other one is Dinosaur of Syracuse. So just going to put that invitation out there. to any of our race fans who happen to be visiting the area. And it looks like Brinson throwing the block on Siefker.
Ooh, boy.
They're dealing right now with the lap car, the 58 there of
Doug Kennedy.
Thank you.
Yeah, Tony Rice is coming out of the pits. That's his third stop now.
That car definitely not handling right. He was involved in that first little melee there. He's been pit farming that car desperately in need of a caution right here to try to get some of that damage fixed.
Yes, most definitely.
And I got to say, we have to be closing in on a first round of green flag stops, because these guys are already 42 laps into their current stint.
Yeah, at this rate now, as long as it goes caution free, the way they are running, I almost want to say probably expect it to be another 2 or 3 stop race.
And here we go.
As
leaders are in.
3 are coming in pits, actually Ronnie's staying out.
I was gonna say that's gonna hand the lead over to Ronnie Osmer, so bonus point for him. And these guys are. Did I just see a brake check?
I missed it, and I think I overheard on the race control that someone is got a speeding penalty again.
Oh boy. Let's see who it's going to be. We're watching the lap times right now. Brinson into his stall. Siefker into his stall. Walker in. And it's Brinson. Brinson and Walker both popped for speeding.
Ooh, boy. That's really going to help out Ronnie big time. As he still has not gotten in. Oh, as he actually is in the pits right now.
Yeah, Osmer coming in now. That's going to hand the lead of the race over to Trimbrell. And Siefker right now in position to take over the lead, and here it comes. It's going to be a drag race.
Yep.
Osmer coming out of the pits. There goes Siefker. There goes.
I think Trimblell's taking the overall. Oh, never mind. Trimblell's now coming into the pits.
Trimble was the first one to not pit.
And he's in pit road now, so Nate Siefker will take overall lead.
Two seconds to the good over Osmer. Not for lack of trying, though.
Agreed. So about roughly, and that was with the caution flag, about between 42 and 45 laps.
Right.
And I'd say we had about what? We had about a three lap caution earlier.
Well, let's find out. As soon as I find the button again. Button, who's got the button? 1 caution so far for 3 laps.
Okay, so fuel run, I would say would be about 40. I want to say maximum would be 40 to 42 max, based on if they can save fuel. Because I mean, that's a 3. Just taking out 3 laps of the caution. If they stayed full speed, that would be about 42. It's gonna get interesting. Pit strategy, knowing that. I almost want to say get ready to probably within between. I expect some of these guys to start coming into pits again or between laps 82, actually further on, laps 86 to 88, possibly 89 if someone's able to really do a decent green flag fuel run and saves enough fuel.
Well, it is going to be interesting to see. So, we'll see how that does play out.
Yeah.
So right now, we're riding along with your leader, Nate Siefker. 2.3 seconds to the good. And there's second place, Ronnie Osmer. It looks basically the length of the back straightaway. That's the lead that Siefker has.
Not that big of a lead, but it looks like Siefker's slowly pulling away too from Ronnie. Last time by now, it's 2.4 seconds for gap now from Ronnie and Siefker.
And that gap is growing because it's now up to 2.5.
Man, Brinson and Walker are probably beating themselves right now for those speeding penalties. Boy, oh boy, that really hurt them.
Absolutely, is they went from the what's the phrase, from the penthouse to the outhouse.
And
Everybody else, I'm looking at the different stops that everybody else had. The worst that I'm seeing of everybody else was a Chris Walker's 37.6. That's entry cone to exit cone. And then you take a look at that was Chris Walker. Mark
Chris
Walker was the one that got popped for speeding. 49.5 entry cone to exit cone.
Scott Brinson had 50.5.
Right, and that's the way to kill a race. That's 2 laps right there, folks. When you figure that the leaders are cranking around here. Last lap for Siefker, 25.6. And these guys are, 50 seconds in pit road. That's 2 laps. They're lucky that they're still considered on the lead lap. That's how much of a lead that they had opened up.
Yeah, and looking at the gaps, the last lap times right now, Siefker opened up a 0.3 of a second gap on Ronnie. And coming this time by, it looks like it's another 0.3 of a second. Looks like every lap right now, Nate's pulling 0.3 of a second gap on Ronnie.
Well, he's running what they would call a rabbit pace, whereas Ronnie's running more of a conservative pace to try to keep the tires under the car, make sure that he's got something there towards the end of the race.
Right.
Ronnie's running as if this race is going to stay green. Nate, I think, is running just running. Plain and simple.
Yeah, because right now, looking the quicker times right now, Chris Walker and Brad Truex have been running faster lap times than Ronnie currently. Based on the last few laps, as the laps are keep on updating. Right now, too, Ronnie's, out of all of the lead lap cars, Ronnie's got the least amount of laps, has the least amount of laps of wear on the tires. Ronnie's only on his 13th lap, while everyone else is on 14th or 15th lap.
Right. So, you figure that out, figure that into the equation, and he's conserving. What he's looking to do. He's not that far off the pace. Ronnie's still running, high 25s. Nate Siefker having to deal with some traffic there. Just did a 26.2. Chris Walker is a 25.7. Brad Truex 25.7. Matt Burkhart 26.0. Crum Rye 25.9. Mark Walker 25.8. Brinson now running what I would call pissed off mode. 25.6.
I believe that's one of the fastest times other than the leader, Nate Siefker, just recently running a 25.5. But those are the 2 cars that are the fastest right now, Siefker and Brinson and Walker.
Right. Now, Siefker currently has fast lap of the race with a 25.26. So figure almost a tenth to the good over the next closest lap time of those who are setting a flyer. So currently working lap 60 of 125. Again, need to thank and I just lost my train of thought. Of course, that train's easy to derail. Do need to thank Discount Nutrition of Tampa, Florida. family owned and operated for over 30 years. Be sure to visit their website. So, Discount Nutrition, thank you so much for everything that you've done tonight.
Looking, current gap from Seifker to Ronnie right now is currently 3.8 second gap right now currently, and slowly pulling away. Seifker just recently ran a 25, just now ran a 25.7. Ronnie coming to the line now running a 25.9.
And the third team SodaFix car taking it pit side. Greg Napier for his second stop.
Did you say the 13 or the 32?
The 32, the second of the SodaFix cars still in action, as Joe Morganti has unfortunately taken it behind the wall.
That's unfortunate for Joe. Joe was just
he had a great run going.
Victim. Yeah, he was just an unfortunate victim there when Ty Stanley had his issues and crashed and ended up causing Joe having nowhere to go. Would end up ramping off the wall there. Not enough damage that they could be able to keep it from at least trying to be competitive enough.
So Walker and Brinson have just passed Paul Crumry. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe it's Paul who owns Discount Nutrition. So should we get another caution, we will be talking to Paul about that one in a little bit here. As Walker is reeling in Burkhart now, and I mean these guys are putting up qualifying pace times in race trim.
Yeah, which is kind of interesting, especially when they're on 24-lap-old tires, too. Seifker's still, the way he's running right now, I mean, he's the guy to beat.
Well, he's half a track ahead of these guys right now.
Yeah, I mean, Ronnie's falling back, but at the same time, the pit strategy, especially with Ronnie, that 2-lap gap that he has on the rest of the field, that could and eventually come into his favor depending on how this race goes if we stay green.
Right. But we're right about the halfway point. There's just a little tick past halfway. As Walker and Brinson just set on kill right now as they dispatch a Matt Burkhart just that quickly. Burkhart tagging the wall. Where did Brinson go? Now that was the thing. Brinson was timing his run to come off of 2.
As he makes the pass.
Now sets its sights on reeling Walker back in.
Yeah, he's only currently less than a second behind Walker right now, sorry. A lot of the cars are very spaced out now. Not much of close battles going on other than just lap cars being passed by the leaders currently.
Well, we've got Brad Truax working with John Napier right now. Looks like Truax looking to draft off of Napier.
Could be trying to work on a fuel strategy, trying to save some fuel in the draft too. Could be very advantageous here at this track.
Very much so. Driving the, I believe Tony Stewart ran that paint scheme at Indy a few years back.
Brad Truex, I believe so.
If I'm not mistaken, that was the one that Tony used to run. But it's been so long since I've actually, and I'll be honest with you folks, it's been so long since I've paid a lot of attention to the real life Indy 500. I'm glad that they're going back to the new cars, or getting back to the non-fendered cars, as I would prefer them to be called. I've seen the new IR18 that iRacing released earlier this week. Have not had a chance to get behind the wheel of it. I'm still healing up from leg surgery last week, but I'm looking to turn a lot of laps in that car. It's a beautiful looking machine, and from what I've heard, it's got the handling there as well.
Yeah, I was actually I just recently was driving the car earlier today, and I was running the mock races they have at Indianapolis. With the DW12s, you would have to lift, and a lot of the aero push would just shove you up, especially in turn 2. The new car, oh my goodness, you could be too wide and have a very decent too wide battle throughout the entire speedway, and not have any kind of major aero push. I did try to go up and draft fairly close to other cars, but I did not see a lot of aero pushes what the DW12 is showing. So I'm expecting some really good racing, especially whenever the leagues start switching over to the IR18s if they decide to. But I expect some good racing out of those cars. I'm very impressed with it. I'm excited to run them next year.
Well, there's only one car left that I'm excited that I've heard that they have scanned. I've heard from multiple sources they have scanned. Whether or not they actually have or not, that has yet to be seen. But I do know that my local dirt track is supposed to be one of the ones that's being released here within the next couple of builds. And I would like to point out to the powers that be at iRacing, should you be checking in with this broadcast, the cars that we run at that track, you don't currently have in iRacing. So I've been told you've scanned the car. Please give us the car when you give us the track, because it wouldn't make any sense otherwise. The other thing that a good handful of us from this area have spoken about is we've all decided that if during the month of September or the month of October, if by the time Halloween hits and we haven't seen an iRacing scan van in Oswego, New York yet, we're going to riot.
Oh boy.
And for those of you who follow dirt racing know exactly why I'm saying that. So, meanwhile, back to the action on the track. Siefker has a 7.5 second lead right now. So there's Siefker going into one, and there's Osmer threading the needle crossing the start-finish line.
Oh boy, yeah, that was close. The closest battle right now too is Chris Walker. I'm actually curious. Is Chris Walker and Mark Walker related?
I don't know.
I'm curious.
Nobody's ever.
If they are, that's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, nobody's ever actually told me this.
Yeah, I've been curious because I just noticed the last names are both the same. So like, it's a very close battle right now with them all.
The only relatives I know that are in the field are John and Greg Napier, or as they were jokingly referred to in another open wheel racing league that I was working with, the Napiers.
Oh, jeez.
And trust me, the person who said that got ridiculed for saying it that way. But
I don't blame him one bit.
Brinson taking it pit side. So of the front runners, Brinson going to be the first one to blank.
And also Chris Walker and Mark Walker as well, both taking pit side, and Mac Burkhart. Stiefer's now in the pits, which Ronnie's now taken over. Ronnie's on 39 laps right now so far in his stint.
Well, here's the thing. As we're looking at we can see the pit times. You and I can anyways.
Yes.
And as far as those who have taken a pit stop, Truax with the fastest one, 8.1 in the box.
Yeah. Looks like if I was Ronnie right now, seeing the passing Nate Seifer, I would jump in the pits now and try to take advantage, especially with Nate still having to try to get up to speed. Ronnie is actually going to the pits now.
apparently Ronnie might be listening to the broadcast. So how you doing, Ron? Taking it in.
He is my teammate too.
Getting it down to speed. Robert Dudley bringing it in. Siefker coming through 2 right now.
It's going to be close.
Osmer's still not in his stall. There he is, in his stall. Siefker coming through the 3-4 complex.
Ronnie's not going to get in time. He's still sitting in his pit stall.
He is rolling. Siefker flashes by.
Now the question is, will Ronnie be able to gain any time off it?
We shall see. Brian Timbrell currently sitting in second. He's finally going pit side. John Napier finally going pit side. Siefker going into 1. Looks like
9.3 seconds, the gap now. Looks like he's lost a bit of time again.
Well, he did have a better pit stop by almost a full second.
Yeah.
The only issue is the fresher tires that Siefker had basically negated any of that.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Well, Nate's probably singing high and dry now, especially with almost 10 full seconds ahead of Ronnie, and I mean.
But
Nate's
we haven't seen the money stop yet, and we've already seen 2 of the top tier drivers step on their own junk and get caught speeding on pit road.
True, and that can easily happen again to Nate, as I believe it was the previous race that I helped broadcast with you, Road Atlanta, where Nate Siefker and who was trying to think of the other person, that they were literally battling for the win, and they both literally spun out on the same corner in different laps, and I cannot remember the other driver that was in that race that also made that mistake.
Well, let me go back and look.
I want to say it might have been Paul Crumry.
I believe you're right. I believe it was Paul. Let's find out here. That would be. Let's see if I can find it.
Right now, the gap between second and third, Ronnie's right now only has a 2-second gap ahead of Brad Truex. Truex pitted 7 laps before Ronnie did. That's a big difference there, but that'd be an interesting pit strategy that Brad's on.
I believe it was Chris Walker.
Ah, okay. So far, the top 5, Nate is on 9-lap stint right now. Ronnie's on a 6-lap stint, and then 3rd, 4th, and 5th are all. Brad Truex is on 13, 14-lap stint actually, and then Mark and Chris are both on 11-lap stint. This will be interesting when it comes to the money stop, especially with the way some of the amount of tread that's left on the tires and the amount of laps that each driver has ran so far.
Now, real quick, because you guys are going to hear, I use different phrases than a lot of other people use. You'll hear me use the phrase "goody off the tire," and the best way I can explain it. I was listening to Richard Petty actually talk about racing tires one day, and it was about Darlington, and he said that when you put fresh tires on, you're going to feel like Superman for a handful of laps. And his next words were, and then you wear the goody off the tire. Now, for those of you who don't know what the quote goody is, that's the rubber, the working portion of the rubber of the tire. Once you get that up to operating temperature, the optimum operating temperature, that tire is going to get the maximum grip that it can get at that point. Once you go past having it at the optimum operating temperature, the performance of the tire goes downhill at a very rapid pace. And sometimes in iRacing, it has been a gradual hill where you're going, yeah, the tires are starting to wear out, I think. Yeah, the tires are worn out now. Yeah, I should probably start to consider pitting here in a couple laps. And then there's been a couple of tire models where they've given us where it's like taking a swan dive off the edge of the Grand Canyon. That's about the best way I can describe it, where you go from feeling like Superman to, well, the last thing I remember, Doc, was dirt sky, dirt sky, dirt sky, ambulance. I don't know how I got here. Well, you went headlong into the safer barrier, my friend.
It's like, oh, okay. Did not know my tires were that far shot.
As Chris Walker getting a little sketchy coming out of turn number 2, gonna move to the inside and just let these guys have it.
Yeah, it's mainly a 3-car battle with Mark Walker, Scott Brinson, and Chris Walker all fighting for 4th. Brad Trick's got to be loving this right now as he's slowly pulling a gap on 4th because with them battling.
Well, they're not battling anymore.
Oh boy. Looks like we lost one of them further back. Did Chris have a little oh crap moment?
Yeah, if you take a look at the right side of that car, I'm thinking safer barrier contact is a safe assumption at this point in time.
As Chris goes into the pits now, most likely to repair that damage.
Yeah, I'm thinking safer barrier contact is. Nate Siefker dealing with John Napier right now. Napier not wanting to go a lap down, and
I almost want to say we might need to start getting ready for some money stops.
Well, we're within range of, if you stop now, you can make it.
And also looking at it too, I have a feeling that both Nate Siefker and Ronnie Osmer, I have a feeling they've already done their money stop because Ronnie's right now working lap 16 in his stint, and we've only got right now 24 laps remaining, which is right at the end of the window for a 40-lap pit stint for the full run.
Right.
Green flag non-stop racing. So that's going to be. I wonder if they're both going to try to make it to the end. Because I want to say Ronnie's got the best chance right now. It's going to be interesting because Nate's got plenty of gap that if Nate wants to, he could easily slow up and save some fuel in the meantime as well.
I don't see it happening considering he's 20 laps in and there's 22 laps to go. That's asking a lot at speed.
Yeah, because I know looking at the previous pit stops, they were at 39 and 38 respectively.
Right.
And
so
I believe Ronnie got up to 40 as he went into the pits.
Right. So what I'm thinking is Osmer's got the best shot of not having to pit again. Brian Timbrell has a good shot of not having to pit again. Napier can probably get away with not pinning again, and so could Robert Dudley. The only problem is Dudley, Timbrell, and Napier are all a lap down.
Oh, laps down, yeah. Robert Dudley and Brian Trimble are both 1 lap down. Okay, I think Robert just blinked there for a second.
And Paul Crumry now going a lap down as well. So your leader has lapped all the way up to 7th.
Looks like he's about ready to pass Carl Burke as well. Yeah, he's right on the tail end of Carl Burke.
Yeah, this is things that make you go, wow.
I agree. As Ronnie's just now passing the line. I mean, almost 11-second gap, but It's going to be interesting to see who runs out of fuel first, which honestly, with Nate being 22 laps, running 2 laps more than Ronnie, it's going to get interesting this at the wire. Still got another
18 to go.
18 laps, all right. And Ronnie, and looking with 18 laps to go, it's going to be close with Ronnie. Ronnie, at the finish of this race at lap 125, Ronnie would be at a 40-lap stint.
Which is doable.
Yes.
Brad Truex is already almost 30 laps into his stint, so expect to see third place have to peel off and get some go-go juice.
And looking on his onboard, Ronnie is running 6th gear in the straights. So it looks like he's definitely playing the conserve game.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, you can tell that I don't think Ronnie's taking it out of 6th gear, because if you take a look at the speeds, Seifker is getting up into the 190s before having to brake to go into 1. Ronnie's 185.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking Ronnie's definitely playing the conserve game to make sure he can make it from here.
I think Ronnie is running it to the end and it's pretty much an all or nothing. That stop he did, that last stop he did, that's his money stop.
And we've seen, as far as racecraft and knowing how to play the game as a driver, 18 years old, but he's got the know-how of a 40-plus-year-old veteran.
Yeah, with a lot of the racing he's gotten, plus the new racing experience now he's been getting with ARCA, and potentially being able to run in Talladega later on in the year. I mean, he's got a lot of experience under his belt, and I think he's starting to be really good with the strategies, and this might pull out to his advantage. Now,
would like to point out Ronnie is looking to run Talladega in the ARCA series, and this is where you can help, ladies and gentlemen. Go ahead and wait till after the live stream is over. Wait till you can watch this in replay. And if you are interested in helping Ronnie get to Dega, go ahead and drop a comment in the replay comment section, and we will pass that along to the powers that be and get you the information on how you can help this young man out. So
looks like Brad. Oh,
go ahead.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was about to say Brad Truex is closing up to Ronnie. He's only a second behind, but stint-wise though, Brad Truex is already 35 laps in, and Scott Brinson's on 31 laps in. So they'll most likely be pitting before, if they do catch up to Ronnie.
Right. That's the safe bet there. Expect to see Truex peel off here within the next couple of laps. Walker has already taken it pit side. So Mark Walker, the first 1-2 blink, which I'm thinking he might be just about begging for a caution. However, the only problem is he's got Carl Burke and Robert Dudley in front of him, so he would not get the lucky dog. He would have to take a wave around.
Right. I would keep an eye on the leader as well. The leader's I think he's starting to play the conservative game as well. He's been running high 26s and the very low 27 lap times right now. And he's got a freight train of cars trying to pass him right now.
Well, those are all cars trying to get one or more of their laps back. It's going to put Tim Burrell back on the 1 lap down.
Yep.
Napier looking to get one of his back, and that's the 08, it looks like, of Carl Burke trying to get back on the lead lap.
Yeah, with Nate running that high line, it's giving those three a struggle right now to pass him, as they're trying to get a run down on the low line, but with them having to check up a little bit on that low line, Nate's just getting a faster line through the high side right now.
He is, but with 9 to go, it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out, because if you look, Osmer's closing the gap.
Yeah, he's only 6.3 seconds behind, but I mean, he's running 6/10. His last lap time, he was 6/10 of a second quicker than Nate.
And Nate's going pit.
Going to pits. I wonder if Nate's going to try to get those fresh rubbers and try to get out and just run Ronnie down as quick as possible. We might be seeing some very, very fast lap time soon.
That's if he didn't just get busted for speeding.
Oh my!
Because it was close at the line. There was all sorts of smoke. Osmer, your new leader.
If Nate does get busted for speeding, that throws away the race for Nate.
And he blows through his pit stall.
Oh,
heartbreak of heartbreaks. Splash and go. Osmer's starting to turn the wick up.
Yep. Ronnie's now put a lap down on Nate. The closest car right now is Scott Brinson, but he's on 38 laps right now. I don't think Scott's going to make it to the end. The next closest car is Robert Dudley, who's only 35 laps in his stint, but he's 20 seconds behind.
Right. So there's Ronnie going into 1, and there's Dudley just about getting... There he's going into turn 3.
I think Ronnie's going to just start playing conserve mode, because with Nate having that big mess up, I think Ronnie's going to feel comfortable with this now.
Brinson going pit side.
Ronnie's just got to hope that he has done enough with the saving. I mean,
just
he's probably
coast at this point. I would say start turning the car on and off, but unfortunately these cars don't have an onboard starter. So 4 laps to go.
This is going to be close. As Brinson's in the pits now. I'm looking on his onboard. The only time he's going into 5th gear is turns 1 and 2, but then the rest of the track he's in 6th. And he's not even full throttling it either.
That would be Ronnie, I would assume you're talking about.
Yes, that would be Ronnie.
Okay. So, Osmer leading 21 seconds to the good. 2 laps to go. Did he save enough fuel?
He's letting off. He's doing as much as he can. He's got a big enough gap that he can let off the gas and coast through the turns and still be ahead.
Here we go. White flag is out.
As that's what he's doing now. He's letting off the gas now.
There goes Siefker on the high side. Siefker's at this time 1 lap down. Looks like he's just going to hold court.
Yep.
And there it is. Ronnie Osmer winning on fuel mileage at Gateway.
Wow.
Robert Dudley able to hold on for... Well, not yet. Robert Dudley just going into 3 right now.
Carl Burke's only 1.5 seconds behind.
There it is.
Robert's going to hold it. Carl Burke will be 3rd. That's an interesting podium, especially when you looked at the qualifying times.
Absolutely. And those guys all got at least 40 laps out of that final tank.
Yeah,
so,
timing... had 40... Oh, sorry.
Timing their last pit stops perfectly.
Yes. Ronnie Osmer had 40 laps in his stint. Robert Dudley had 40 laps in his stint. And Carl Burke had 41 laps in his stint. So,
Tyler, why don't you go ahead and see if you can get me the top 3 in the... if they're in TeamSpeak, go ahead and let's start with Carl Burke if he is in TeamSpeak.
Yep, I'll go find Carl Burke right now, and let's see. I don't see Carl Burke, but I do see Robert Dudley. So I'm going to bring him up.
All right.
Alright, bringing them up now.
User was moved to your channel.
Robert, Patrick up in the, yeah. Tony up in the booth, you got me, sir. Robert Dudley, Tony up in the booth, you got me, sir.
Yeah, this is Robert. Go ahead.
Robert, we were talking about, you know, the guys that finished on the podium tonight. You know, you timed your last money stop just about perfect. You know, talk us through the mindset behind that.
Well, after that last pit, I pitted. I was looking at the fuel, and I was pretty close, like a lap, going to be about a lap short. So I started going to the corners, and this laying off the throttle, going in the corners, and not hitting the throttle until about halfway down the backstretch.
So you immediately went into conservation mode when you made the last pit stop.
Exactly. I looked at it and said, well, I can probably save it if I save some fuel if I don't go in the corners as hard and stay off the throttle, you know, coming off the throttle a little bit later.
Very nicely done, sir. Well played. You're able to get 40 laps out of that final tank. Only a couple other guys were able to do that tonight. You know, just well played, sir. That's about all I can say on that.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, I was sputtering, running out of gas going down the pit the last lap.
Fair enough. Anybody you want to thank tonight?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Scott for putting on the league. I'd also like to thank you guys for doing excellent broadcasting. I'd like to thank my wife who lets me do this and supports me and watch the races. And also I want to dedicate this race to my sister who we lost December to Lou Gehrig's disease, and that's what I carry in my car, and that's how I honor her.
Well, sir, you have my respect for, you know, any charity work that you're willing to represent here in the Top Fuel Series in iRacing. So my condolences to you and your family, but congratulations on the podium.
I appreciate it, and thanks for doing such a great job. I'd also like to say hello to my mom and dad, Arliss and Sharon. My dad was my sister's caretaker, and my mom, and they support me, and I love them. Love my wife too.
Hi, Mom. So, Robert, congratulations. Unfortunately, I haven't seen the schedule yet, so I'm not sure where we're going to be next week.
I believe Michigan.
Okay, so tell us your thoughts on that one, because Michigan's one of my favorite tracks in the Indy cars.
Yeah, that's my favorite track too. It seemed to place pretty good over there. It's try to stay out of trouble. I love running that track.
All right, well, best of luck to you next week at Michigan, and congratulations tonight on the podium, sir.
All right, thank you, buddy.
So, Robert Dudley able to come home in second.
Out of your channel.
Alright, I'm gonna bring Ronnie up, our winner.
User was moved
And the man of the hour, you never cease to amaze me, young gunner. Ronnie Osmer, talk us through the money stop. How hard were you saving fuel during that last stint? Hello, Ronnie.
Ronnie, you there? Oh, don't tell me he's away from the computer now.
You gotta be kidding me.
I'm gonna have to get on to him for that if he's away
Ronnie.
from his computer.
Wait, all right, is it working now?
Yeah, it's working now. So talk us through how hard were you in conserve mode going into that final stint?
I was conserving pretty decent, not super hard, because I had to try to make sure I kept pace with Nate. But pretty much, like, I didn't know how long the fuel run was going to be, so and then just 2-3 laps into after the last what would have been the money stop, I looked at the fuel and I said, "Dang, I could probably make it from here." Just stayed careful with the throttle, stayed careful with the gears, and saved enough.
You saved enough for a 20-second lead at the stripe. Now we were talking about you drive for PH Aware and Ride to Give. Talk to us about those two charities for a second.
Well, as y'all know, PH Aware is pulmonary hypertension awareness that is supported from our team, Phenomenal Motorsport, Phenomenal Evolution, also. And Ride to Give is a national known charity through Facebook that helps sick children with all their needs of medical and all stuff. With their slogan, "Give a little, change a lot," and where you don't have to give a lot of money to support.
Well, Ronnie, we were also talking about, you're looking to snag a ride going into Talladega, so gonna be fun to hopefully watch you take your second super speedway start. Definitely fun to watch you here in the iRacing series that we get to run with you with. Anybody you'd like to thank tonight?
Thank my mom and dad for watching. Gotta thank Sam for his awesome paint scheme. And thank the sponsors of the race. And thank you guys for broadcasting.
Well, Ronnie, not sure if you were aware of it, but going into the start of the race, the sponsor for tonight's event, Discount Nutrition, said they were going to put up $10 to the winner. So you've got that coming your way. You've got some good points coming in to tonight. Talk to us your thoughts about next week going into Michigan.
Michigan should be pretty fun and entertaining. There's definitely going to be, with the setups, there's going to be a lot of aero push. So there's going to be multiples of lines that people are going to take. And tire saving and fuel saving is going to be everywhere around that track.
All right, fair enough. So, Ronnie, congratulations on the win tonight. Again, we would like to thank Discount Nutrition for putting up the purse tonight. So $10 coming your way from Discount Nutrition, located in Tampa, Florida. Bear with me 1 second, folks. My screen just pooed the bed. So if you are in the Tampa area or would like more information, you can visit their website. You have been watching a presentation of the Top Fuel Racing DW12 series. This is every Wednesday night. For more information on how you can get involved, wait till after the live stream's over. Go ahead and in the replay, drop a comment below with your iRacing screen name. We'll get that passed along to the powers that be and get you added into the mix. Would like to invite everybody to join us here at BOFA Broadcasting back here tomorrow night, as we will be doing cup racing from, I believe it's Somo tomorrow night. So, Somo Cup Series. So, on behalf of Tyler Vickery, I would like to personally thank Mr. Scott Brinson for allowing us to bring the action to you tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, we will see you tomorrow night, right around 8:30-ish Eastern Time. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and we will see you back here next week for the Top Fuel from Michigan.